Good afternoon. My name is Catherine Macwillie. I am a family law divorce professional, and I'm opposed to Peaky's Law. I've been dealing with family law for over 40 years, 24 years as an LAPD officer responding to radio calls dealing with divorce and custody. I was also a first responder to child abuse investigations and other specialized units impacted by family law. The last 16 years, I have been a custody consultant and divorce coach, specializing in high conflict cases wherein I conducted threat assessments and safety plans, with some of my clients wearing bulletproof vests to court and setting up security rooms in their homes for their protection. I pray there is no one else in this room that has experienced the impact of family law that I have. I pray that is the case. I still remember where I was standing as the screams of a young mother rang out as she was told that her two children, 5 and 7, had been murdered by their father pending their divorce. There's a story of a 6-year-old child who hung himself on a refrigerator door using his own belt after his parents divorced, and the mother that locked her children in a shed and set it on fire, killing all but one of her children. There is no one in this room more than I that wants to support, protect every child and every family member. However well-intended this law is, it will have devastating unintended consequences beyond your comprehension. The harm and abuse to children and families will increase, not decrease, with the passage of this law, not tenfold, but 100-fold. I'm not objecting to the training. I'm not objecting to judges becoming more aware of domestic violence. What I'm objecting to is the fact that we have children that are going to be more manipulated, put more in the middle, and as their preference becomes known to the court with this law, that preference will be given to a child. We don't allow children to set their bedtimes. We don't allow children to go to a dentist.
I'm going to give you a little bit longer because I gave the proponents a little bit longer, but I would like to ask you to wrap up.
I will. Okay. There is still time for much of what was written in this law that will help children and families and even the courts dealing with violation of court orders. Information that was identified in a bulletin issued by the Office of the Juvenile Justice Department in 2001. I urge you to see more, to learn more about how this law could destroy families. Not the training, not the domestic violence, but that preference. In closing, there will be a time when we look back at family law and wonder how we were ever so barbaric, because there's no other word for what is happening to children and families during divorce and custody proceedings that will be made worse by this law because of the outlaw of reunification programs. And just to address one issue.
Hold on.
The FBI, when they locate a child who's been taken by a parent or other family members.
I do need you to wrap up. So if this
I'm
is your
closing it
concluding
now.
remark, okay.
Is they use reunification programs similar to what's being used in courts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next witness.
My name is Ron Berglass. As a former mediator in the Sacramento Superior Court, I'm used to listening to very emotional arguments and keeping an open mind for both parties, and I give them equal time and equal emotional statement. When my 10-year-old daughter told her mother that she wanted to commit suicide, her mother told her to do it at my house because then I could be seen as the bad guy. 2 years later, after my daughter secretly texted me from her mother's house asking if she could live with me, and I won back custody in court, she overdosed twice on fentanyl while trying to cope with the trauma her mother inflicted by coercing her to reject me. This bill specifies that the counseling shall primarily address the rejected parent's contribution to the resistance of the child before ordering the other parent to take steps to improve the child's relationship with the rejected parent. What steps do you think the other parent might take to improve a relationship that they've systematically destroyed? Come on. What happened to Peaky was indeed tragic. I'm sorry. Yes. But had nothing to do with remedial therapy. Had a risk violence assessment been conducted on Peaky's father by a qualified psychologist, it might never have happened. Nevertheless, they've managed to include the removal of judicial discretion in this bill, preventing a judge from ordering counseling services to remediate the resistance of a child to connect with the parent seeking custody if the child is transported to the counseling against their will. A resistance proven in court to have been molded and shaped by their abuser. I heard it all the time from my ex. She told me my daughter didn't want to talk to me on the phone or go to my house. The ex claimed she couldn't do anything about it, that it was what my daughter wanted. How did she do that to my daughter? From the age of 2 to 12, her mother told her repeatedly that I didn't love her. My daughter told me later that when she protested that it wasn't true, her mom shouted obscenities at her. They are as relentless as this awful bill. SB 331 Rubio seeks to hide the other parent from observation, recrimination, and criminal sanction, when it has frequently been proven in court that they use coercive control to force their children to reject their other
You need to
parent.
wrap up.
Yeah. Ironically, SB 1141 Rubio passed states that an award of child custody to a party who is engaged in coercive control is detrimental to the best interests of the child. Reject this smokescreen of a bill, please.
Thank you. Further, we're going to conduct the hearing professionally. Any further witnesses in opposition?